In today's video, we'll be talking about OFAC, the US Office of Foreign Asset Control. I will be covering how US sanctions are put in place, who should comply with it, where you can find details about active sanctions programs, and much more. So let's jump right into today's video. Hi and welcome to FinCrime Agent, my YouTube channel where every week I post a new video to boost your knowledge about anti-money laundering and financial crime prevention. Today I will be talking about OFAC, but before we jump into what is the US Office of Foreign Asset Control and how OFAC works, I want to cover a bit of history about this department within the US Treasury. When OFAC department was established? When China entered the Korean War in 1950, the OFAC office was then established. President Harry Truman, back in the 50s, labeled the situation a national emergency and ordered the freezing of all Chinese and Korean assets under the US control. However, there was before that another office called the Office of Foreign Funds Control, also known as the FFC, which existed before OFAC and was formed toward the beginning of the Second World War, precisely in 1940 as a response to the Nazi invasion in Norway. The FFC was established to prohibit Nazi exploitation of occupied nations' foreign exchange and security assets, as well as forced repatriation of monies belonging to people in those countries. So let's now see what does it do, the OFAC department today. The US Department Office of Foreign Asset Control, also known as OFAC, is in charge of implementing economic and trade sanctions imposed by the US on countries and groups of people. Sanctions have been placed on people implicated in crimes such as foreign aggression, terrorism, and drug trafficking, among other reasons. It's important to know and to understand that the sanctions imposed by the OFAC can be either comprehensive or selective, and by using the blocking of assets and trade restrictions, OFAC helps the US government to meet their foreign policy and national security goals. If I would need to simplify the application of sanctions issued by the US, I could say that sanctions are meant to stop activities that are generally harmful or hostile to the United States and its allies. And this takes me to the next point, which is how OFAC works. Economic sanctions in the US may be approved by Congress or initiated by emergency powers held by the President. We already learned that OFAC is in charge of enforcing sanctions imposed by the US government in accordance with its foreign policy and national security objectives. So, the main targets of US sanctions are usually foreign countries, terrorists, and narcotics traffickers who represent a danger to the United States national security or economic. And this, of course, covers also organizations who keep weapons of mass destructions on hand. Sorry for the very quick interruption. If you are finding valuable this video, you can show your appreciation by subscribing to FinCrime Agent and press the thumb up on the video. This will make it super easy for you to consume more videos published on FinCrime Agent in the future, and as I'm growing my audience, I can also make more videos for you. So thank you for your support. Back to the video now. In summary, sanctions policies are designed by OFAC to inflict damage on the economies and daily lives of countries or organizations that break international conventions. As you can understand, this is a method of pressuring a country to adopt accepted behavior without facing a military confrontation. Sanctions program and country information. OFAC is in charge of a variety of sanctions programs, and as I mentioned before, economic sanctions can be either comprehensive or selective. On the screen you can see a list of all of the OFAC programs, and as of August 2021, those include 36 different programs that are maintained by OFAC. All of those sanctions programs are currently active and regularly updated, so if you are in the process of learning about US economic sanctions, this could be an interesting point for you to know more about active programs and why they're still in place. As usual, I will leave in the description of my video a link directing you to the OFAC portal so you can open up each program and find the latest updates. Since we just talked about OFAC programs, I think we should spend a minute also covering SDNs. So what is the SDN list? Among other sanction lists published by OFAC, the US Office of Foreign Asset Control provides also a list of people and entities that are either owned, controlled, or operates on behalf of targeted nations. Individuals and businesses in this category are called Specially Designated Nations or SDNs. Within this list, you will also find individuals, organizations, and entities such as terrorists and narcotic traffickers included under non-country specific programs. When financial institutions or other regulated firms within the financial services sector are in the position to get hold of funds or assets that are linked to SDNs, those must be frozen or blocked. Also, American citizens are typically forbidden from interacting with them. Accessing to the SDN list is publicly available and free of charge from the OFAC portal. Again, I will leave the link to this in the description of my video. At this point, you may want to know also who has to comply with the OFAC sanctions. OFAC sanctions must be followed by all persons, bank, financial services firm, and other regulated institutions operating under the US authority. This involves incorporating an OFAC sanction search into internal anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing procedures and ensuring that new customers and clients are checked against the list before a commercial connection begins. As you probably know, the cost of non-compliance is a very serious matter. Individuals implicated in sanctions violations can face penalty of up to 20 million and jail terms of up to 30 years. If you're keen to know more about the scale of anti-money laundering fines paid by financial institutions in 2020, click on the link above to watch one of my previous videos. Lastly, blocked and rejected transactions. Since we just covered SDN and I mentioned frozen funds, I also want to differentiate here how transactions linked to sanctioned entities are usually treated. When a transaction is identified with a potential link to a sanctioned entity, but the actual connection with the listed entity cannot be fully proved, the transaction is usually rejected. This implies that funds will return to either the customer's account if this was an outbound payment, or they will be sent back to the remitting financial institution when the transaction is stopped as an inbound payment. Instead, when a true match with an OFAC entity or an SDN is actually identified and confirmed, financial institutions under US regulations must actually block the funds or asset as a breach of OFAC sanctions. In this case, the financial institution does not return the money to the account of origin. These assets are now considered frozen or blocked, and within 10 days of becoming blocked, the financial institution that identified and blocked the transaction must report their finding to OFAC in compliance with its sanctions reporting requirements. There is also an annual report that must be completed by entities that are holding blocked funds due to sanctions reasons. If you are new to the economic sanctions space, there are many interesting frequently asked questions on the OFAC portal that will help you build your knowledge, and I suggest you to take a look there. And of course, let me know if you would like me to expand more in one of my future videos about specific topics related to OFAC or economic sanctions more broadly. And with that, I'm at the end of today's video. If this video was useful to you, you can show your appreciation by supporting my channel and subscribing to FinCrime Agent. Press the thumb up and also remember to check the description to find some useful links, including how to become part of our community on patreon.com. Lastly, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed my video, and until next time, see you soon.